Happy Tuesday, besties and bosses. How y'all doing? How is your week going? Before we dive in, I'll remind y'all of this at the end of our live, but I have a tendency to forget to make announcements. I'm going to announce this at the beginning as well. We are doing a free Q&A again. If you know me, you know I love questions. We have a whole podcast around it, right? One question, unapologetic questions for unapologetic results. I want you to have a chance to ask me questions, and we've done a live Q&A in the past. We did one after the podcast, and we did one a few months ago, and I personally loved it, and I know a few of you have reached out and asked when we might do one again, so we are doing one again. We'll be at the end of this month. It might actually be September 1st, but it's in about 2 weeks, so I will make sure we drop a link for that. It will be a Q&A around the mindset and strategy of making money on your terms. You are welcome to bring any question around mindset strategy for your business, around making money your way on your terms. It will not be in the Facebook group. It will be on Zoom. So if you want to join for this, and this will be more like an intimate, private event. If you want to be a part of this, make sure you sign up. Even if you can't make it live, you can email your question into me, and I will get to as many questions as I can during the time. And if I don't get to your question through this, I will bring you to a live stream topic. So be sure you sign up. We'll send a replay out for it as well. I'll remind y'all at the end of our conversation today as well, but I did not want to forget about that. And did I have any other fun announcements to share with you? I think that's everything. I think I shared last week, we're getting closer and closer to our wedding date. So that is fun and exciting over here. And we got our wedding rings this weekend. So that was very fun. And I don't know, it felt very, very adult and fancy. My ring is from used diamonds, new diamonds. It's not vintage, but from used old diamonds, which was important to me. But we got my man's ring at Tiffany, so we had that whole experience, which was very fun. So that's what's going on in my world in the announcement. And again, I'll remind y'all, for those who are hopping now or at forget at the end, I'll make sure I remind y'all about the Q&A and drop a link for that afterwards. So today we're talking about demystifying funnels, and I want to share 3 common ways I see clients, people in the online space kind of trip up around funnels and getting their own way around funnels and sabotage their results. We're going to look at why these get so complicated, really break down just simply what is a funnel, and then I will share those 3 ways that I see. I don't really want to call them mistakes. They are mistakes, but I don't love that term mistakes. I don't think it feels great to use that word, but just ways I see people trip up funnels. So if you are watching now or on the replay, I would love to hear from you how you feel about funnels, what you think about when you hear the term funnels. I know, and I think I put this in the email I sent, I know when I started my business, the first year I was in business, I don't think it's quite as noisy this way online anymore. I quite honestly don't consume a lot of content online, so you will have to tell me how much funnel talk there is. When I started my business, I'm like a grandma in the online space because I've been in business now, five and a half years, for a hot second. And I was in a coach training program for a year before that. So what is that? That's like 6+ years in the online space, which is basically a dinosaur in the online space. And at that time, all the bro marketers could talk about were funnels and hacking your funnels and leaks in your funnels and how important your funnel was. And I remember thinking, funnels must be complicated, funnels are hard, funnels need to be long, funnels need to be challenging, I need to worry about the leaks in my funnels, I need to have a perfect funnel, I can't have a business until I have a funnel. I just remember there was so much noise in my brain around funnels, and a lot of when I got my funnel sorted out and got it a lot simpler, and I started working with clients, and I shifted from, when I started my business, I was a general life coach and not a business coach, and I didn't move into business coaching until a few years in. When I shifted into business coaching, it was interesting, a lot of clients were coming through stressed out about funnels as well. Now, like attracts like, so that could be part of the reason. So I would love to know if there's still a lot of chatter about that, if that comes up for you. I hope this is a useful topic because I still have a few clients bring this to me now, and it felt important to speak to. What I have found from building my own business, having a business that's very profitable and successful, but also supporting so many other clients, and really looking at what a funnel is. Courtney says, "Hi Kim, I try to think of my funnel as actually just relationship building." First, nice to see you. Hi. And yes, it's exactly that. We'll actually jump right to this because I think for myself and for so many clients, when I look to what Courtney is saying, when I look at what a funnel is, and when I look at what funnels work in my business, they're really a simple, all we mean when we say funnel is it's really your customer journey. And it's really, the reason it's called a funnel is if you think about the shape of a funnel, and I know I've done a live on the past about this, more about the customer journey. But when we think about it, the shape of a funnel, it's kind of like a V like this, right? And it's wider at the top, it's more narrow at the bottom. And so the only reason a funnel is referred to as a funnel is in business, usually when we are looking at the customer journey and relationship building, we have a wider reach, and we have, as our reach is wider at the top of the funnel, we have a more narrow relationship with the people we're speaking to. And as we deepen our relationship and people move through the funnel, right, we have fewer people going through the the funnel, but the relationships get tighter and deeper until you kind of funnel into your offer. And so I really think, just to like make funnels super, super simple, all a funnel is in your business, it's the way that you find the people in your orbit, the way you connect with them, the way you strategically build relationships with them to funnel them into your offer. And that's why we use the term funnel. So I think, yes, absolutely, to what Courtney's saying, it's just relationship building. And I think for all of us, and I know Courtney does great work around this, it's really also the strategy in which we're using relationship building to very clearly, simply, strategically bring someone into your world and into your offer. And generally speaking, when you're looking at a funnel, the reason people get it all complicated is a funnel that works in your business. We're often looking at what are the touch points throughout your funnel that help funnel people into the next layer, right? The next level of relationship. And so it's really that simple. I'll share, we have multiple funnels in my business, but I'll share some examples outside of my business because I think it can also just be helpful to see how simple a funnel is. And then we'll go into the 3 big mistakes, because I'm going to use the word mistakes because we're on the same page here. Not mistakes, but challenges, opportunities to make some changes. So some examples outside of my own business, I think just can like really help you see how simply a funnel is. I have one client who is fully booked in their business, and their funnel is very simply go out. I mean, it's a little trickier with COVID. It's been a little trickier to navigate, but go out and do workshops. That's the front end of the funnel, right? That's the top of the funnel. That is the widest point that is where the relationship is the weakest link in the relationship. Go out and do workshops, and then that funnels people in to their email list where they nurture them, which funnels people into a consultation or free call, which funnels them into their offer. And I'm showing that just so you can see, like, that's all the funnel is, right? It starts out wide. It's a way that they connect and bring people into their orbit. Then they have some more touch points that are deepening that relationship, and then they bring them into their offer. I'm trying to think of another good example. So I have another client who has a business that's not even really on. The reason I'm sharing some offline examples is I know for me, when I started my business, I thought a funnel could only be like a super complicated email thing that you needed Entreport for, and that you had to have 4,000 emails to that extended for 5 years. And I'm being very dramatic here and I'm exaggerating, but I really thought it had to be all online. I want you to see funnels happen offline all the time. So I have another client who has an offline business. Their general funnel really is word of mouth marketing. And so the front of their funnel is, or the top of their funnel is really their already client relationships. And we have some strategy put in place to encourage referrals coming through. Referrals, when they come into the top end of their funnel, generally, sometimes they'll go to their email list, but generally go right to a call and then right to offer. So just so you can see that offline has a funnel too. Funnels do not have to be only online. Courtney says, yes, I thought it all had to be complicated as well. I don't want to hate on online marketing because I know everyone's just doing their job, and this is just a part of good. I want to say this is good marketing, but Courtney, just what you're saying, what I find is so much marketing wants to make things like funnels super complicated and business super complicated, because I think it's almost like a fear tactic, a scarcity, urgency tactic to encourage people to buy and to feel like, oh my gosh, I must be missing out on something, I must be doing something wrong. And that is not wrong. That is part of what marketing does. So I don't want to make that wrong, but to what Courtney is saying, I think that's why so many of us at some stage in business have felt it needs to be complicated, needs to be hard. And I'm always saying, really and truly, the smartest strategy is usually the simplest. Our brains just resist simple so damn hard. I think our brains also think complicated must somehow be better. So with you on that, Courtney. And hi for whoever is just joining on. Let me know if this is resonating, if you have questions just about the simplicity of it. So again, this is going back to what we were talking about here. Your funnel is very, very simply, it is just the path people take from coming into your world. When they first come into your world, that is usually when you have the widest relationship with them. And it's how you funnel them through your touch points, your different touch points into your offer. And generally speaking, the funnel gets more narrow as you're going down, as you increase those touch points, as you deepen the relationship until you get to your offer. So hopefully that makes sense. Oh, I said I'd share a couple of examples of my funnel before we talk about the challenges, the mistakes I see. So some examples of my funnels, I think this is a great example here. So we share, you all know this, probably most of you, this is how you came to my world. We share content in other Facebook groups. So that is sort of like the opening part to my funnel, right? Top, that's super, super wide, usually where I first interact with people. At least this is one of my funnels, right? From the Facebook groups, people often either end up in this group here or in one of my trainings or on one of my opt-ins. But let's say that funnels someone into my Facebook group. That's still kind of top of the funnel there. Then this live stream, right? This is how I'm deepening the relationship with all of you who are essentially in my funnel. I'm deepening the relationship here. We put out content every day in this group. So right, that is showing up regularly to deepen the relationship, to deepen this is narrowing in on the funnel. And there are multiple touch points in this group every single day and multiple opportunities for everyone here to come deeper into my world. I have a free course. I have lots of free trainings. We have lots of free opt-ins. I have an email list where we send out, I think we send something out almost every day at this point with free content. So all of that is deepening the relationship, which funnels people down into, I offer a free consultation into my work, right? So wider at the funnel, when I first meet with someone or first connect with someone in a Facebook group, we can still connect. They're still coming into my world. We're still building a relationship. It's just a lot wider. It's a lot less of a depth of a relationship. And then we just have multiple touch points as we go down the funnel. And the more someone interacts with one of those touch points, the narrower the funnel gets. And then we have that, that bottom of the funnel entry point into my offers. So hopefully that helps you see super, super simple. And I think what's fun to see is, and y'all do not need to have all the things I do. I've been in business for a long hot second. So we have lots of different entry points in lots of tops of the funnel, right? And they all funnel into the same offer. I think what's fun to see is, though, the longer you're in business, the more funnels can funnel into other funnels. But ideally, they're all funneling down to the same offer. One thing I will say, because I don't think I put this as one of the mistakes or one of the challenges, but I do think what's really helpful to remember when you're thinking about funnels, and again, we're seeing this so simply, right? Super, super, super simple. This is just being really clear and strategic and intentional with how you're bringing people into your world and that relationship building journey. I think one of the challenges that can come up for people is we almost confuse simple to mean not clear, intentional, and strategic. So you can be clear, intentional, and strategic, and that can still be simple. Those can live in the same world. So what we're not saying is simple means you don't try, or you don't have strategy, or you're not clear and intentional. Hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down. We're just not going to overcomplicate the journey and the process. And I think what can really help when you're looking at your funnel and you're creating a funnel that helps you bring people into your world and build those relationships and book clients with ease is to really be clear on what is the focus of your funnel, what's the goal of your funnel. And I know this sounds super basic, and I feel like I talk about this all the time, but I'm gonna keep talking about it because I know this seems so clear and obvious, and it's really fascinating how easy it is to almost miss this piece of a funnel or when you're looking at your marketing strategy. And this is something I have to remind myself. When I started the podcast, I had to remind myself, wait, what is the intention here? What is the goal? What is the actual point? What's the bottom of the funnel I'm taking people to? Because the podcast is just another piece to a funnel. It's really easy to forget that. And when you're not clear on what's at the bottom of your funnel, what happens is we tend to just have a really wide I'm remembering, I think it's like a year or two ago, I did a live stream, we talked about this a little bit, but instead of a funnel that comes into kind of a goal, right, that builds that relationship to a really intentional point, it kind of is more like a cylinder where people kind of just fall through and they have nowhere to go. It doesn't mean you're not building relationships with them, but it ends up just lacking that strategy and that clarity. So this is why I believe clarity is so important, along with mindset, strategy, and action in business to create those results. But when you're looking at your funnel, yes, we want to know the different touch points, but we always want to know, it's almost like we want to start at the bottom of the base of the funnel first. What are you funneling people into? What is the goal and intention of your funnel? I've never used the word funnel as much as I have in this live stream, by the way. I usually refer to this as, customer journey or something different. So it's funny to hear. Have you ever like said the same word over and over again? It starts to sound very funny coming out of your mouth. So I'm experiencing that right now. But it's really important, really, to be clear on what is the goal of your funnel, because that's going to inform everything else. And without that, again, it ends up just being more like a cylinder, if we're going to use shapes as an example. Not that it's bad or wrong, but it's just a lot easier if we can funnel people into your offer. That's the whole point. Or it might not be into your offer, right? You might have a funnel that the intention is to build an email list, or the intention is to build your Facebook group. You might have your goal might not be currently to go into an offer. That's okay. You want to be clear on that though, because it is going to change a little bit in terms of getting clear on what kind of touch points, what kinds of strategies are going to make sense to funnel people in. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if you have questions. I always want to make sure y'all are picking up what I'm putting down. Okay, so 3 things that I would offer here that I think are just important to be really mindful of. I guess we kind of had 4. You got a bonus because we just talked about the goal at the bottom here of the funnel. First one here that I find happens a lot, and this is where a lot of complication can come in, is getting really obsessed with trying to find the leaks in your funnel. So where's the messages popping up? For those of you who aren't used to funnel talk, and I don't know what the cool kids are calling them these days, but when I was starting out, all of the noise was about like, you got to make sure you don't have a leaky funnel. You better find the leaks in your funnel. It was like, worry about the leaks in your funnel. And I know we did a live stream on a little bit of a different topic, but it was somewhat connected. I'll have to find it, see if I can remember which one it is, and link to it here. What I find that does is it does 2 things. 1, it has you focused on the wrong things in your funnel. And 2, it assumes that leaks in your funnel are wrong or bad or not serving you. So let me explain what I mean here. First, having a leak in your funnel is actually not a bad thing. I would offer it's actually kind of a great thing. If we think about the whole intention of a sales funnel, of a customer journey, it is to bring people into that goal point, right? So whether that goal is, to sell your offer or to grow your audience, whatever that might be, whatever you're bringing people into, most of the time it's to sell an offer. We think about the shape of the funnel, the fact that it's wide, and that when we're at the top wide part of the funnel, that's where you have the widest relationship, the weakest relationship with people. If you just keep it wide like that and you don't have anyone leak out, you're kind of just assuming, you're taking a very wide reach to your business, and you're kind of assuming everyone I talk to is a perfect fit. I kind of have we have no barometer for who is and isn't a fit for my offer. We're not really having any discernment around who is a fit for business. It's kind of taking the mentality that everyone is an ideal client. And I really come from the school of thought in business, and you can not agree with me if you want to, but I'm such a big believer in deep over wide when it comes to audience, when it comes to, knowing who your people are. I think we can go a lot wider than the general school of niching talks about, but I do think there is such an opportunity to go deep with people. And so having a leak in your funnel, in my opinion, it's actually healthy to have a few leaks in your funnel, because all that means is it's just weeding out the people who aren't actually a fit. It's doing the work for you, because what it means is some people are leaking out, not a fit. The people who are a fit are staying in. Now, if you have a funnel where everyone's leaking out, we have like I don't know, that would be like a big old hole, that's a very, very different challenge. That's a very different scenario happening. But if you have a leak where a few people are dropping out, I would honestly offer that that's normal in business, but that's actually a good thing. I say this to clients all the time. I feel like someone probably coined this as a quote, and I don't know who, or I would give credit where credit is due. But I really think about powerful messaging, and Courtney would speak to this in terms of branding, powerful content, being a business owner who's a thought leader, a powerful funnel that actually converts into clients. It's really about repelling as much as it is about attracting. So if you're not repelling people, it's also hard to attract, right? If we think about the polarity of repelling and attraction, that polarity is actually quite important in business, because if you're only attracting people, that kind of probably means you're just yesing people. You don't have a lot of opinions. You don't know what you stand for. You don't really have a strong message. You probably don't have a strong brand, right? You're probably just sort of like wishy-washy about things. You're kind of like, I love the color. I love the flavor of vanilla as an ice cream flavor, but in business, I don't think it does this a whole lot of good, right? It just means you're kind of bland and for everyone and everything, which makes it really hard for people to understand why you're specifically for them and why they specifically should pay you money, especially if you're in high ticket sales and offers. Whereas if you're repelling people and attracting people, right? We don't want to only repel people. That generally means you have a message that has an opinion. That generally means you know who you are for, who your offer is for. That generally means you understand why someone should give you money for your offer. Right? It generally means you're specific enough. It generally means you have an opinion and you're not afraid to share it. So I think there's something here to see. Having a leak in your funnel, having a leaky funnel is, I think, more a scare tactic in marketing to make people freak out, but I actually think it's a sign of a healthy funnel. And if you didn't have any leaks in your funnel, I would be more concerned than having a few leaks. Very, very different than having big old holes. Courtney says yes to going deep versus wide. Hell F yes. I don't know why I said F instead of fuck, but hell fuck yes. I'm laughing as I'm like catching my potty mouth. So I think that's just something really helpful to remember. A leaky funnel is not a bad thing. I would honestly offer that means your funnel is healthy. And the reason I say this is what happens is when you hear the noise around, watch out if your funnel is leaky. I was just listening to a marketing expert on one of the few podcasts I listened to who was talking about this, and it was really interesting from my perspective listening, because I understood where she was coming from, and she didn't mean it, I don't think, in the way it came across. But I think if you don't have the mindset to understand that a little bit of a couple leaks in your funnel is actually healthy, hearing this can make you think, oh my gosh, there's a problem. I'm doing something wrong. I need to go fix this. And what happens is all of your focus ends up going to look for a problem in your funnel. And I promise you, if you look for a problem in your funnel, if you look for a problem in your marketing strategy, if you look for a problem in your business, you will find it. My business has problems all over the place. That doesn't mean those are problems that need to be fixed. That doesn't mean those are problems that keep me from making money, right? We have a very successful business. We're very, very profitable. All of my clients' businesses, I would say, probably have problems all over the place, and if we look for them, we can find them. That doesn't mean they need to be fixed. That doesn't even mean fixing them would help their business grow, would help their bottom line grow, would help them serve their clients better, would help them make more money. Usually what happens when we find problems that don't need fixing is we obsess over them, and we waste a lot of time fixing things that don't actually move the needle forward, or we waste a lot of time focusing on the leaks, right? The people who actually don't belong in the funnel. We focus on the people who aren't a fit for your work. We basically are focusing on the wrong people. Not that they're not great people, but they're probably not people for your offer. And so I would really be mindful here. This does not mean there are not opportunities if something isn't working to take a look at things. It doesn't mean there isn't an opportunity to refine things. But usually when you're going in from the mindset of, I have a leak in my funnel, I need to find this, I need to find what's broken, let me go fix it. We're going in with the mindset of, I'm not gonna stop until I find something wrong. And your brain is designed to find problems. It will find something wrong, I promise you, even if there's nothing wrong, but most of us have some sort of problem, right? If you go to some of my opt-ins, I created those my first year in business. I don't think we've touched them much since. I guarantee you, please don't do this because it would be a waste of time and energy, but I guarantee you if you look for it, you could just find a quadrillion different problems and things that are broken and wrong with them, and yet those funnels still convert, right? They still bring in clients. They're still working perfectly fine. We're at max capacity. Like, there's no problem that needs to be fixed. Those funnels are working perfectly fine. That would be such wasted time and energy. So I say that as an offer to you because I promise you, y'all can find that if you're looking for it. And I think what's so important always in business is being really mindful to solve the right problems in your business. And this is one of those places where looking for the leak to fix, looking for something that's broken might not be the right problem to solve in your business. There's a very good chance all this does is have you focus on the very people who aren't actually a fit for your offer in the first place. So, I mean, you tell me if that sounds crazy, but in my opinion, I don't really want to spend a lot of time fixing and adjusting things for people who are never going to be a fit for my work. I can love them and appreciate them as humans, but it doesn't really make any sense, right? I want to double down and focus on the things that are for my people, that are going to serve my people, that are going to benefit the people who I'm a fit for, who are going to be a hell yes for my work. So I would invite you to think about the same. And this is why I really think leaks can be a really healthy part of your funnel instead of something to fix. Now, again, I want to be really mindful here. This does not mean put blinders on and don't pay attention to challenges in your business. This does not mean if things aren't converting, you don't look for, where are the challenges and opportunities and places to refine. That's not what we're talking about here at all. We're talking about things that are generally working, but have some leaks. Those are great things not to pay attention to versus if you have just like a floodgate of leaks, that's a very, very, very different thing. So we're not putting blinders on and ignoring problems. We're just not going to go look for problems that don't actually make sense to fix in your business. That would be my biggest invitation to you. I think half of the time when I'm supporting clients with and the work we're doing is really getting them out of their own way from fixing shit that doesn't need to be fixed or from creating problems that don't exist in their business so that they can keep growing. Because I think I feel like I talk about this every week, y'all, so you have to excuse me for repeating myself, but it feels that important. The brain is just so wired to look for problems. It is what it is designed to do to keep you safe. So we are all just so wired, especially when things are going well, or when we're feeling uncomfortable, which is when you're building a business, to just want to look for problems. And if you can't find one, your brain will create one. So really an invitation to be mindful of the problems you're looking to fix in your business. And I think with funnels, that's just a place, because marketing teaches, watch out for the leaky funnels. You need to have an airtight funnel. I would just offer, especially if you have a high ticket offer, you really don't need an airtight funnel. In fact, having some of those leaks would be beneficial. And I have a few clients who have lower ticket, we're working all on email funnels, right? All on traditional old school, kind of what you're thinking about with email marketing, and they have a lower ticket offer. I would say in that case, we are a little more analytical with the so-called leaks, but that isn't that's more because their ticket is lower price and their offer is a little bit wider as a result. We actually want to capture more people. It isn't actually as beneficial for us to weed as many people out. They're a little bit more in the quantity, is a really important thing. So that would be maybe a case where if you have a lower ticket item and you're selling at volume, that might be a case where you want to look plugging some of those things can actually make a really dramatic difference in your bottom line. But for most of you here who are service providers, most of you have high ticket offers, actually repelling in this case is going to make a little more sense. So hopefully that nuance makes sense. I'm always so mindful when I'm live, there's just so not a one size fits all approach. So as I'm sharing this for everyone here, just check in and filter through, does this make sense for your business? Obviously everything I'm saying is not a blanket statement for everyone's business. Okay, let's chat about the second one here. So I think this is the live stream we did maybe a year or two ago. So this is a repeat on this point here, but I'm going to bring it back because this is something I'm always highlighting for clients and lovingly nudging them on in terms of a challenge point and where I see funnels get a little skewy, or the customer journey, and that's inverting the funnel. That is so if a funnel is like that, it's having a funnel that looks like more of a pyramid. And what I mean by that, if we think about a funnel, right? The opening is meant to be wide. That's generally where we have, the wider relationship. We're just meeting people. That's where they come into our orbit, into our world. And then through touch points, right? As you have more touch points, people are going down the funnel to your offer, to the goal of the funnel. And what happens for a lot of people, because they're impatient and because they want results now, and because, I don't know, maybe someone taught them that, it's all coming from a well-meant place, is funnels will get inverted and the offer is right at the top of the funnel. And I think the mindset is almost offer, then I'll have touch points and build a relationship. I think if you're here, you can think, oh my gosh, of course that does not make sense. Of course it makes sense to have the relationship building and the touch points and to have people, go down the funnel to the offer. But I highlight this because I would offer just for everyone here to also take a pause and just to check in, kind of how I said earlier, just to check in and see, do you have a goal for your funnel, for your marketing strategy? Are you clear on the goal for your marketing strategy? Because seasoned business owners forget once in a while when they're marketing something or when they're doing something what their goal is. It's super, super normal, right? You just get into the groove with things. I would say the same here. Just check in from time to time. Is your funnel inverted? Or is there an opportunity to flip it around? Because I see this just happen so often where if it's not like this, it's the shortest funnel ever where it's like one touch point and then someone's jumping right into a high ticket offer. And look, I am all for people can come into your world, be ready to buy, be a great fit, something you say connects, and they're ready to buy a high ticket offer. Abso-freaking-lutely, it happens all the time. I work with wonderful clients who, stumble across my stuff, and that is the case. And for the majority of my clients, I sell a high ticket offer. For the majority of you who sell a high ticket offer, generally speaking, the higher ticket your offer is, the more of a relationship of that know, like, and trust we need to build. What is it? Someone has the quote where it's you need to 10 times the amount of, share 10 times the amount of value to, the price point, offer point on the front end. I've heard someone say for every $100 or every $1,000, that's another hour someone needs to spend with your content and your work. So it's not like this needs to be forever and ever and ever. I don't know that these are based in any real research or stats, but generally speaking, the higher ticket your offer, again, there are exceptions to the rule. We are also available for someone can land in your world, buy from you today, without any no like or trust, even at a super high ticket offer. It does happen all the time, generally speaking. So we're not creating rules here, but it's generally speaking, the higher ticket your offer is, the more touch points someone is going to need before they're ready to buy or invest. And I think given the online space right now, and given the amount of noise online right now, and given COVID and just so many different things, I think in general for most people, and just the options available, right? The online space is no longer, there are just a lot of options. There are a lot of noise. The algorithm is changing. People aren't seeing things as much. There's so many factors at play. I think in general, the number of touch points needed for a high ticket offer conversion has simply increased. I think the customer journey has just stretched out a bit for most people. I think the funnel, right, has just gotten a little longer for most people. And that, again, there are exceptions to every rule. We are available to exceptions to the rule. Exceptions to the rule happen all the time. And I think it's just helpful to normalize that, because what happens when you're not normalizing this is when the funnel gets inverted out of impatience, where it's just let me just put offer and then I'll have the touch points come in, instead of flipping it around and seeing, actually, it probably makes sense for me to have a whole, just a little bit of a, wider top here, and to allow people to really funnel in. That's generally going to allow for the best conversions, especially if you have a high ticket offer. When I say high ticket, I would really say anything over $1,000. High ticket's all relative, right? It could also be, over $500, but I think it's very different. I know someone could land on my sales page or sign up for free training on our thank you page. We usually have a tripwire. I don't know, I think it's $29 or $17. I know that someone could jump on that and buy that right away. You need very little time in the relationship build for that. But even there, I think just notice, generally speaking, for someone to get to the thank you page of something like that, they're still gone through a relationship building funnel, right? They've still probably connected with my content in another Facebook group or on Instagram or in this group. Then they have decided they trust me enough to get to the sales page. Then they've read the sales page, which is building up a connection to get to that thank you page, right? So like, I think just seeing even there, it's still not just here is my $29 or $19 offer or whatever that is, right? There's still some funnel even up to that. So again, just really helpful to think about here, just to check in. Are you unintentionally inverting your funnel? And what I would offer is, if you aren't unintentionally inverting your funnels, just looking to see where can you build on some touch points, and seeing touch points does not mean it has to take forever, right? The example I just gave here, that could be 2 touch points, right? A piece of content in a Facebook group, the sales page, and then, you know, the second sales page, the sales page for something free. It doesn't have to be a super, super long ass funnel there, but just looking and seeing, is there an opportunity for me to increase the number of touch points that I am putting in front of my audience, opportunities I'm allowing for people to connect with me, to connect with my work, to build that know, like, and trust, and just to check in with that. And then also just to notice what resistance comes up around that. I find, you know, when we're inverting our funnel, sometimes it's just because that seems like it's the right thing to do. And like, we all just learn as we go, no shame in that game. But I also think sometimes it's interesting just to notice the resistance that can come up around, you know, having to put in more touch points, or possibly around a longer customer journey. And I would just offer, like, notice what comes up there, because that's usually the opportunity to do some mindset work. And I really just want to normalize, like, longer or shorter, like, one's not better than the other. I think at the start of business, when you're starting your business and getting booked out, it can feel frustrating because we want results now, we want money now, and super normal. And I get that, and I hear you if that's the place you're in. Totally okay. But if you're planning on being in business for the long game, which most of you are, and this is the work you want to do, once you are booked, once you are in a rhythm, however long that journey is, isn't really going to matter that much to you, because you're going to be working with clients, right? And you're going to continue what you're doing. And there's always going to be someone at a different point in your funnel, which means you'll always have new people at the top. You always have new people going through your touch points. You'll always have new people coming into whatever that goal is, into your offer. You're not actually going to notice that it's taking someone a little bit longer, because you'll have that pipeline working for you. So it's really only at the beginning that sometimes it can feel a little crunchier around that. So I offer that if you're feeling the resistance, or if you feel like, if any of that urgency or frenetic energy is coming up around that, just to see if you can just, like, put your brain forward a little bit. Like, if you allow yourself to play a little bit of the long game there and to build that into your funnel, you actually, like, on the other side, when you're sitting in the results, you won't actually feel or notice the difference. I just booked a client who I'm really excited to work with, who told me she's been in my funnel for 2.5 years. And I share that just as an example, because I absolutely have people who found me a week ago. But that's such a great example of, and it's not like for that 2.5 years, I was sitting here like, oh my gosh, why isn't my funnel working? I had other people going through the funnel, right? It wasn't negatively impacting my business. It wasn't negatively impacting me. But because I was like, allow my funnel to have those touch points, and I wasn't like, how do I just like fuck with all the leaks? Here I have a beautiful client who, you know, just had a longer customer journey, and get to be really excited about that. And I share that just to normalize for everyone. That's also when business starts to feel really easy, when you allow for that. And for every, you know, 2.5 years, you've got someone who found you a week ago, and so just to normalize both. Okay, let me know if you have questions about that. I think that is pretty self-explanatory. I know the other thought I wanted to share with that. I know we've done a bite-sized biz lesson on Instagram about that. I don't know if we've done a live on here about this, but I think the other piece to play with in terms of accidentally inverting the funnel and thinking about those touch points, I think what can always be helpful with your funnel is just to ask, this is the question, and we need to do a podcast question on this, except for I'm talking about it now, so probably not. But I always just like to check in and have clients ask themselves this, is where in relationship are you with the person in front of you? And what's the obvious next step in the relationship for them? Meaning, if you have an inverted funnel, where are you in relationship with someone? It's probably not a deep enough relationship that making an offer makes sense, right? If they've just come into your world, that would be like, hi, do you want to buy from me? Probably doesn't make sense. So you want to think about, where are you at in relationship with someone? Did you just meet them for the first time? Have you just said hello for the first time? Have they just interacted with your content for the first time? Or have they been consuming your content for a while? Have you had a chance to really deepen that relationship? Where are you at in relationship with them? So then what's the obvious next step to deepen that relationship? If you've just said hi to them, obvious next step to deepen the relationship might be a free offer that has them put a little skin in the game, like an opt-in or a free training or a free ebook, or hanging out with you on a live stream, right? Or a free call, right? Like it might just be something like that that deepens the relationship before you go to high ticket offer. Okay, so I don't want to go too far down a rabbit hole because I may start getting into offers and pricing and all of that, but hopefully that makes sense and gives you a little more context there. Just seeing here if I want to make sure if there's anything else there that I wanted to share. This one I actually made notes for. It's funny, y'all, because I don't always make notes. Sometimes notes almost mess me up because I'm like, oh, there's 4,000 things I want to share with you, but we've been chatting for 40 minutes and I also want to give you the third tip here. So I'm going to share the third thing here, and then let me know now or on the replay if you do have questions about any of this. So the last thing here, and I'm going to try to think of how to explain this, where I see as a challenge point and where I see funnels kind of get stuck or confusing is not understanding or not seeing your whole funnel and seeing like your business holistically and where your funnel fits into place there, and looking at the data in your funnel really microscopically, like zooming in and thinking something's not working. So this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with the leaks in your funnel, but I want to explain this a little bit better here because I think this is just such a common marketing mistake, challenge, a common funnel challenge, a common way that it's just really easy to solve the wrong problem in your business essentially. And what I mean by this is not seeing how your funnel, how your strategy plays into the rest of your strategy and business, and seeing one little snag point, one little thing, and zooming in on fixing that instead of understanding how it fits into the rest of your strategy. So hopefully that makes sense. I will explain, but let me know if you need me to rephrase that or say that in a different way because I feel like that might be a little confusing. I will use myself as an example. I do for years, right? I did a monthly masterclass. We do them a little less frequently now because of the podcast, but we're doing a Q&A this month, right? That is a part of my overall marketing strategy. That is a part of my funnel, but it is one part of a larger funnel. It is one part of a larger strategy, right? It is not the whole strategy. It is not the whole funnel. And it would be very easy for me to zoom in on a single masterclass and on the conversions from a single masterclass and determine if this is working or not working, and then want to blow things up in my business. So generally speaking, for me, most of my clients have a little bit of a longer customer journey. My masterclasses work excellently for me in business, but it does not always translate in my business that I do a masterclass and then someone hires me, right? That's not always the trajectory for my people. Most of my, for various reasons, right? Like building a relationship, for the trust level, for just various, doesn't even matter for the sake of our conversation. But I happen to know, and this is why getting to know your business and looking at your strategy and understanding, talking to your coach about this, understanding what's going on with your strategy, understanding your people is really important, understanding your client's customer journey, because fast or short, like, right, it doesn't really matter. We make, 30K plus months every month. Like it's not impacting the bottom line. However, it would be very easy to zoom in on a single masterclass and say, well, this single masterclass did not give me that, 35K a month. So therefore, this masterclass, this part of the strategy does not work. This funnel doesn't work. This is a shitty strategy. Let's throw this out, right? I think that's how most people are problem solving their marketing and their business. And what this does is it tends to have people jumping around to a bunch of different things. If you have been in my world for a hot second, if you're a client of mine, I'm such a big fan of pick and stick, and I will lovingly get on you if you want to jump all over the place. But this is one of the reasons for that, right? It's so easy to do, and it's so easy to decide, like, well, this doesn't work because look, the data is saying so. But that's generally speaking, again, so often we are myopically, we're like zooming into one little piece of a strategy and not understanding how it plays the part in the rest of your business strategy and the rest of a marketing strategy. And I would just invite everyone to be super mindful of that phenomenon, because I think we can all do it to some degree, right? Especially I say this again, but I think just also understanding what season of business you're in. Are you in the season of business where you're booking your business out? Or are you in the season of business where you're sustaining? Generally, when you're in the season of business of building, right? That's why I talk about building, growing, and scaling a business. I really think those are different seasons. If you're in the phase of and season of building, like that's one of the most challenging phases in business. Let's just call it how it is. I really think that's like one of the hardest challenging times in business. And that's also when everything feels so much more weighty and so much more heavy, and it's so much easier to look at a single thing myopically and be like, does it work, does it not work? Instead of, can you allow yourself to zoom out and see, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work. We actually need to see how it fits into the whole. And so I'll use myself as an example again as this. I know those work really well for me, but generally speaking, they are a part of a lot of other parts of my strategy. They're another touch point for my people. They're a really great touch point that deepens it, but it's not something that lives on its own. It's not something I'm expecting this one thing to be the secret that blows up my business. I'll put a lot of pressure on a masterclass, but that's also just not how my people, how y'all work. Like I get it, I don't either. Not for something intimate like coaching. And that's not wrong or bad or better or worse. It just kind of is. So I know they work really well. They just work as a part of a bigger strategy. Another example of this is sales pages. I think about this a lot with where does a sales page fit into your funnel? And I talk with clients about this a lot as well, because it's so easy to get, super stressed about sales pages, and sales pages absolutely have a function and a purpose. But I think it's really interesting, again, to remember kind of like it's so easy to zoom in on one thing and to make one thing wrong and to not actually understand, is this actually the problem to solve? Is this even broken? Or is it part of a bigger picture? And where in the bigger picture does it even fit into your strategy? So with something like a sales page, one understanding sales pages they're one part of a bigger strategy, right? So I would be very this is again where it's like, it's really easy to want to blame a sales page or to get locked in on one little problem there instead of looking holistically at what's going on. The other thing I always am chatting with clients about is understanding where in your funnel your sales page is showing up. I'll use myself as an example. I know for me, more often than not, my sales page comes in after a sales call, not before, which is really important information to know when we're looking at what we need to have on there, but also like what works, what doesn't work when you're trying to look at, kind of going back to our first point here with looking at the leaks in your funnel, or just understanding how something fits into the whole of your strategy. That's really important information, because it would be very easy. Let's just say I was frustrated at like booking calls or something like that, and booking clients and deciding my sales page was my problem, but I hadn't been booking calls, right? And then I go spend all this time fixing my sales page, all this time making my sales page better, when the truth is sales page may or may not need, it doesn't mean sales page doesn't need looking at, but that's actually not where the kink in the hose is, because most people don't see my sales page until after they've called with me, or until they're already in that part of the funnel. So hopefully that makes sense, because I feel like it's almost another live stream topic, but it does feel tied into the funnel piece here. And just to put a recap and a bow on that, just to be really mindful of when you're taking a look at things you want to adjust with your strategy, with your marketing strategy, with your funnel, being mindful to see how is this a part of the rest of your funnel and the rest of your marketing and business strategy, and be mindful not to zoom in so close that you kind of miss the forest for the trees, so that you can really see how does this affect everything else? Where does this sit in my funnel? Am I creating a problem that doesn't exist? So I hope that is helpful for you. If you're watching now or on the replay, please let me know if you have any questions. I will give you a quick recap here. I'm gonna pull up my notes. So a quick recap on the 3 mistakes, challenges I see with funnels, and just places to be really mindful. 1, getting super obsessed with finding the leaks and fixing them in your funnel. 2, having an inverted funnel, right? So instead of like this, having that inverted funnel with your offer right at the top. And the 3rd one here is really not seeing the forest for the trees and not understanding where different aspects of your strategy fit into the whole funnel, the whole marketing strategy, and zooming in super closely to fix something without understanding how it affects everything else, which can cause problems that don't exist. I feel like that is kind of the theme unintentionally of today's live stream, is to be very mindful about creating problems that don't exist or fixing problems that don't need to be fixed. I hope this was helpful for you. And then also a reminder, if you would like to ask me your questions instead of me sharing my one question every week like we do on the podcast, we are having a free Q&A. We are bringing that back. It will be, I think it's September 1st. We will be talking about the mindset and strategy of making money on your terms. You can send in your questions to me if you can't make it live, or you can join live and ask me your questions, and I will get to as many of those as you we can possibly get into that time. I'm thinking of this as, it's not quite group coaching, but think an intimate small group, like-minded people. You'll really have a safe space. We will not do this on Facebook. We will do this on Zoom. So it'll be a safe space so you can really bring what your actual questions are. The replay will not be publicly shared. It will only go up to those of you who have signed up for it, and only people who have signed up will be able to get a link. So it'll be very intimate, it will be private, it will be very safe, so you can bring your actual questions and I will answer anything and everything that I am able to that is either, in my realm, in my zone of genius, or from my personal experience, and I will be mindful to make it as applicable to your business as possible. So I hope you will join me. We've had a couple other ones and I have loved them, and I would love to have you. Thank you for hanging with me. I love you all so much. I'll be back next week. I've got a really fun topic. I'm excited. Some of my favorite topics for next week for you. Bye, y'all.